What is up, everybody? Today we are going to be in the old map editor, taking a trip down memory lane, looking at old maps, forgotten maps, never before seen, unfinished maps, unreleased maps. We're going to be taking a look at everything today that we have in my folder here. And this is not even all the maps I have, so if you like this video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment, and I will try the best I can to find all the other maps I have that aren't even covered in this video, and I'll make a follow-up video. But for now, we already got 48 maps, so this video is going to be plenty long. I'm just going to share my thoughts on each map, and we're going to go and reminisce on these maps. And if you just joined this game in the past couple of years, you won't even recognize any of these maps here. Oh, actually, you will recognize at least one. But I think this will be a really enjoyable video, and if you're interested in some of these maps, I'm going to leave a link down in the description of the spreadsheet I have, and about 80% of these have a YouTube video of me playing on the map from back in the day. So if you're interested in a map, you can just check that out there. So first we're going to start with Pradio here, and I also have the spreadsheet up, so a lot of these I'll be able to tell you who made them. Let me see if I can, I'm going to sort this by alphabetical order. Pradio Hollow, this is by Gago Mundo. So we can take a look here. This one is, so one thing to know about the old map editor is that you only had a few different options in terms of your texture there. You can see up in the top corner there. That's all the options I have. Now, in the later versions of the map editor, you could customize this, but this one, either that wasn't done or this was made before that was even added. I think this was made before that was added. So this one, it's a bath of gray and dark gray and light gray and even more gray. But yeah, this map is basically just all gray. And it was kind of interesting to play on, but the spawns were a little weird. And there's also no free-for-all mode, so this was kind of meant as a free-for-all map, but it has team deathmatch spawns, so it was pretty goofy to play on. I think we're gonna move on to the next map here. This one is called No Name Map. It's by CG Trav, actually, and he's kind of sort of still around. This one's actually a pretty nice map. The only thing, one, this area is a bit too open. But then the other thing is that this map is very reliant on ladders. And one thing is that with the old map editor is there actually were no ladders at all. What people would do, as you can see here, I think these were actually added by me so I could play the map better, is people just put a ramp and you would just jump up the ramp. And one other quirk is that sometimes things in the map editor and the game were not the same. So you're just going to have to trust me on that, because in this map editor, I'll show you here, like if I try and jump up this ramp, it's not going to work. Actually, it will work. Oh, maybe I was, maybe when I tried it before, it wasn't working quite right. But yeah, there was some stuff that would work in the editor and not in the game, or vice versa. Another point, as you can see, this map has kind of a weird lighting scheme. This is the dusk lighting. There was 4 different ones. You had night, dusk, and then 2 different day ones. There was a pretty good one, and then one that was like too bright. And there was a glitch where if you had the dusk skybox selected in the editor, when you launched it in game, it would actually give you the day skybox. So a lot of these are going to show up as a dusk skybox, and if you're wondering why was that so popular back in the day, it wasn't. It was what you had to select to make the map day. All right, so we're going to move on to the next map here. Platform 2. I remember playing on this map. Obviously, it's quite small. There's some underground portions here. Not a whole lot of interest on this map. This was by John Liu 97, who also made, looks like 2 other maps that we're going to be checking out today here. This map is kind of interesting, but one thing you'll notice a lot with the map editor maps is that they tend to be too small and kind of like a bunch of props dumped in there, which, I mean, the too small theme tends to continue today. But in the old map editor here, if I can remember how to even select to the props section, okay, object menu here, we had tons and tons and tons of props. Let me make sure this is selected to all. So you'll see some maps in here where they just use like everything in the map, and it can be good and it can be bad. All right, let's take a look at the next map here. We got Platform Aim. It's supposed to be Platform Aim, and it's actually by the exact same guy. If I can figure out how to close this window, there we go. Yeah, so as you can see, this was pretty darn similar to the last one we looked at, so we're just going to keep moving on. This is Heat well, it's called Heat Rennes, but I thought this was made by Fraus. I think it was made by Rennes, and it's not in my list. That's why it's called Heat Rennes. But of course, this is just a port of the CS map Heat, and with most CS ports, this one is very hallway-ish and quite large. So I actually remember playing on this map just like it was yesterday. It's crazy that this would have had to been like 3 years ago now, but definitely an interesting map, but not something you'd really want to play in game a whole lot due to its size and just all the hallwayness of it. This is port 1 by John Liu 97. So this is the last of this trio by this one guy. Now, one other quirk with the map editor is that a lot of things will get broken just from version to version. So on this map, as we can see here, the floor is actually made out of money. And you may wonder, why the hell would anyone do that? And the answer is that this map originally was made with a terrain object. But when the map editor in game got updated, then it broke terrain objects that were in old maps. So to play the maps, you just had to put material in, otherwise you literally have no floor on the map. And that's what I did here. I just made it out of money because why not? I put that floor in to play it. This would originally had some grass floor with the terrain. This was a pretty decent map actually, but as you can see, it's kind of a prop dump, just kind of a random, free for all map. As you can see, it fits for all right on the screen here. So take a look at the next map. This is actually one by me here, Prototype 1, I guess is how to pronounce it. Not Prototype 1 certainly. Yeah, this is the scaling was pretty far off on this map. Everyone's just spawned so far away from each other. There's almost nothing in between. If this was shortened up a little bit, it could be interesting. But this was quite an early attempt on a prototype style map by me, and it's not particularly good. But if you thought that was bad, this one's going to be even worse. Now, to be fair, I knew this map was horrible when I made it. It was not really a serious attempt, but it is honestly like really, really bad. There's basically two routes out of the spawn. You can either go down the staircase, go in this tunnel here, and pop out here, or you can go this way and then either run out here or run out up here. But this map is huge. I'm going to go into the preview mode here. It's like you're walking on like the top of like a 5-story building here. I don't know why I made it so big. Next map. This is a firing range map. Before the training map was added in where you can test your gun ranges, you could actually launch this with a friend, and this was all marked out quite neatly, so you could test different gun damages and things like that. Not too long after I made this the training map was added into the game, so this kind of became obsolete. It was fun if you just wanted to really goof off with someone, is to launch a game but then just play normally because the spawns are right next to each other, so you'd always hide behind these little sandbags and basically trade every kill. But so next map here is Nuketown. I believe this was the first Nuketown port. Now we're up to like the 7th. But this one is actually a quite a decent map. It's not it's pretty decent here. Now, one thing with the map editor is that it was basically like Minecraft. You could only just place blocks on a grid. Now, you could also fill areas, but I'm not even I don't remember how to even use it really. It was a little confusing, but then you could copy stuff. But basically, you're just stuck to making stuff on a grid. Not even, in the current map editor, you're basically stuck with rectangular stuff, but you can rotate it however you want. This stuff is all on a grid basically. Now, there was one way you could do it. You could go here, go into the object menu, and then go up to, where was it? That's ramp. So ramps, yeah, people would use those. The other one is like cube. You could edit the size, but it would also distort the texture on it, so it didn't really work at all. That was very strange. It just behaved in weird ways, and pretty much no one used that. But yeah, this is a pretty decent. Whoops, I just saved the map by accident, but I don't think I changed anything. A pretty decent Nuketown map, but it is small. Once again, you can see we have the dusk skybox, so that in game it would actually show up normally. Next up here we have Boneyard, and this one I believe is by Fraus. This one I remember playing on. We played a few games on this. This one is an exercise, a lesson in scaling, just like those other ones. the prototype maps. But this is very large here. For some reason, you put all the red spawns right here. I really don't know why, because there's so much space back here. But basically on this map, blue half of the map, you can camp like anywhere in the world. The red half of the map, you have almost no cover at all. So the blue always had quite a huge advantage here. So this was an interesting map to play on, and it was fairly fun, but it was really unbalanced. So this didn't get a whole lot of repeat plays. Next up here we have Kesh. I'm sorry, I'm a little sick today. Kesh, which is of course another CS map. This one was made by L Light. And I mean, there's not much to say. I do remember playing on this one too. It was actually pretty decent. You have a good amount of styling and ramp placement for what it is. It's really not as bad as some of these other maps. Maybe not as bad as it looks, but it's also, you know, your same CS map, so it's going to be a bit too large, kind of confusing, and really hallway-ish. And they never really just, in my opinion, they don't work super well with how Skillwarz goes. This one is called 1v1 map. It's by Fraus. It's very small. And yeah, this is basically it. There's 4 rooms, and in each room there's like a upstairs kind of ledge part, and that's literally it. Next map. This one is called P-Train. It's by Titix, who was the developer of the map editor here. This one is not a very good map, unfortunately. There is some like, well, so the map features are not different colors, so it's hard to even see that there's a ledge there, right? And some stuff like that. Like, so there is some like parkour areas here and other weird kind of things. But this is basically just kind of an aim map, and I don't like aim maps hardly ever. And yeah, that's about it. Like I said, there's some weird parkour areas. Like, if you really want to, you can get up here. But why would you want to get up here? I don't know. Yeah, basically like that. So we're going to move on to the next map here. This one is a really cool one. It is Chernobyl Playground by Andros0523. This one, as you can see, it is somewhat of a prop dump, but it is done quite well for being a prop dump, and I believe this was also this guy's first map. This one had a lot of potential, and I actually played on it with the guy. I don't even think this one was posted on the forum. I think I just happened to run into him when I was playing the game, and fortunately was able to play on this map. Or actually, I take that back. So one thing with these old map editor maps is that you had to download them manually. So I must have met him through the forum somehow, or maybe he was talking to him in game and he sent me the file for this. But one thing with this map, this map had a lot of potential, as you can see. I mean, there's just so much detail. Now, there is a little bit too much detail. This dude took like pretty much every open thing and like put something there. Like, why is there a barrel here? Why is there so many crates here? Why is this here? Why is this here? Like, just clutters up the map. But it is done pretty well. It looks good, and if you just clean this map up so it had some like actual routes instead of just kind of clutter everywhere, then it would actually would have been a very, very nice map back in the day. As you can see, a lot of the textures, a lot of the props, they a lot of times would not fit together very well, as you can see here, but it was pretty well done. And the thing that kind of made me sad about this map is that this guy got done with this map like a month before the old map editor was obsoleted. So I don't think this map really got the appreciation that it kind of deserved, especially considering the quality of maps back in the day. This one was really probably, I'm sure, in the top 1/4 of maps that were out there. All right. Excuse me. Now this one here, you should recognize if you play Skillwarz. I'll give you a couple seconds here. Anybody recognize this map? That's right, this is Athens. This is the original version of Athens, made on the old map editor. There's only a few things that are different. One, there's this bull nose here instead of this being kind of flat. And these hallways here actually go farther on this map. On Athens, I cut them back so they're kind of in the middle here, and I kind of just opened up this courtyard area here on Athens. Now this one, because this courtyard area is so tight, it's a lot easier to move around the map stealthily. So your options are much more like move around stealthily or snipe up in the top here. Now, and then in the current one, there's a lot more fighting that can go on in the middle here. I can't really decide which one I like better, but a lot of times if if maps are like this where they're too, sniping dominant and kind of weird, you can't just go guns blazing, then, the people won't like them as much. So I changed that a little bit. And speaking of moving around sneakily, this one had quite an interesting Easter egg that I took out of Athens, which is that there's actually a duct back here where you can drop in this and actually run all the way under the map and go up and hop up on the other side of the map there. This one, I don't know why. The other one you can see I could jump up a ramp, but this one I can't. I don't know why, but it would work in game. That's I would have made it, that would work in game. I've used this plenty of times back in the day. And there's also these really hidden kind of alcoves here on the side. So if there was someone on the enemy team who you knew about this, or especially if you were in a 1v1 or something, you could just hide out here like forever with a shotgun and just wait until you hear him come up and just jump out and shoot him in the face. That was really fun back in the day. So our next map here this is just the day version of Corridor, so nothing to see there. Courtyard here. This was pretty much the first map I created, and I actually think it's really good. This one you might see again in the future. I'm actually thinking about recreating it. Now, it's not going to be block for block with all this crazy debris and everything, but I actually like the style of this map and kind of how it plays, because you kind of run along the edge of the map. You don't really... the center's too exposed, so unlike most maps where the center is kind of the power point on the map, you try and get to the center where there's some building or something where you can peek off of. This one is the opposite. You always hang along the edges, so it's always was kind of fun when you would have you'd see an enemy, when you're both entered the same building at the same time, and you had to fight it out right there, or you could climb on top of one of these and kind of just look around the map and shoot people in other buildings. So I'm really thinking about bringing this one back. The one problem with this one is that the scale was too small on it. I made this as, quote, real life scale, where like the building dimensions are pretty accurate for what it would be in real life, but in Skillwarz is just way too small. I mean, it only takes, like 5 seconds to get halfway across the map. So it's going to be a little bit bigger, but I would expect to see this one return bigger and better, literally, in the future. Let's look at the next map here. This one, I don't know who made it. I'm going to guess it was Men20, because he always made these like real small, kind of dense maps like this, but I actually don't know who made this. Nor do I really remember playing it. I don't remember specifically. Of course, I mean, look how close the spawns are. It's like you can pretty much see people from side to side. So, yeah, this was a bit too small to be any good. Dist test. This is an interesting map here, because you have a spawn, and then all the way over there's another spawn. I made this map literally, I think, to test like how far bullets would go before they stopped doing damage or something like that. I don't remember. Dust 2. This is a classic one, obviously. This is by Laugh, and this is another one that was one of the best maps made in the old map editors. You can see, especially for what you had back then, which this one uses no custom textures. It's all those textures I was showing you before. That the level of detail in here is very high and very impressive. Now, this was before they added elimination mode into the game. So, the big problem with this is that, of course, in CS, you're basically always playing elimination. But in Skillwarz, you have to be able to protect your spawn. So, and there's been even more Dust 2 remakes that have the exact same problem, where they'll put the spawns in the exact same place they are in CS, and if one team is somewhat stronger than the other, then they'll just spawn trap the other team like crazy. So that was the biggest problem on this map, but it was really fun to play. This was one of the most popular ones to play on the old map editor, certainly. Here we go, Factory. This is an unfinished map, and yeah, it's like really unfinished. This is, when you started up a new map, you could make a grid by default, so this is literally nothing going on. Unrelated to this is Factory 2. This one was made by iTerq. This was made as kind of a demo map for what ended up being the final version of the old map editor. And this is the only one that I have a video of, but it's not my video. It's actually his video, though I do remember playing on it. One thing is that, there's kind of a recurring theme here with these editor maps, where even if the map is big, a lot of times it's absolutely cluttered to the brim with props. And this was the this is the same way, and all of iTerq's maps were like this, for the most part. This was decent, but there was some imbalance with how you spawn higher up here, so people would kind of camp easier. You had a head glitch on these guys. And then also, the spawn here was just so cluttered. You could literally just camp like back here, or like on the roof, or just in front of one of these random containers and shoot one or two guys as they came out of their spawn. It was pretty funny, but kind of unbalanced. This was just a lot of clutter here, and not a whole lot of strategy that you could do besides just using absolutely you know, like shotguns and stuff, using stuff where you just see the enemy and you know, battle that as fast as possible there. Just have these reaction battles, right? This one here, High New. This is by Men20. You'll see the theme with this dude's maps. This one he actually posted on the old forum way back. I think asking Oma to add it to the game or something like that. But this one, as you can see, it's just extremely small. It is like, just look how small this is. This is all the way across the map between the two spawns. I remember playing on this map with Julio M10 and I think Svizird. And then, of course, like, they're both really good with snipers. And especially, I think Svizird might have even been better than he is now back in the day. Playing against these guys and just getting, like, quick-scoped on from these guys doing these, like, crazy shots here. Like, right into my spawn and everything like that. Not super fun. Of course, this map is super dark, too, because it's all in a shadow. And we're moving on. Jump test. What is this one about? Oh, this is a map I made literally to test, I think, how high you can jump. Yep. Combinat. This one was actually based on some place that I had a dream about one time of being. But it was no place I'd ever been, so it was unique. The problem was, by the time I started on this map, it was like months after I had this dream, and I really couldn't remember hardly at all what this place was. You know, so as you can see, I gave up on this map pretty early. KZ LOL parkour. This was way before training mode was added, so this was, you had to just send this to people who you know wouldn't troll you and shoot you when you were trying to parkour. This one I actually remember, I believe I got all the way to the end here, or at the very least I know I got into this green tower, maybe not all the way up it. But this was actually a pretty decent parkour map back in the day. One thing though, there was this, so to get up here you had to like jump from here to here, and it was like super hard. It was like the hardest part of the map right at the start. Everything else was pretty basic. This was before the movement was changed, where now it's like you can just jump this way and hit A and then move your mouse to the left and you'll end up going this way. This was before that was even added, so you had to do like just some real weird difficult thing to do that. But this was a pretty good map back in the day. Let's see here. London Alpha. This was a map I made. This was based on a level from an unrelated video game that was set in London, but as you can see, there's not a whole lot of detail here. You basically have a quadrant of streets and this kind of alleyway in the middle. And I thought it would be a cool thing to make a map out of, but it turned out no, not really. Sometimes maps are just like that, and this one I kind of realized pretty early on that it was not worth pursuing that far. And then also I think this one was made pretty close to when the new map editor was coming out, so I didn't put too much effort into this, hence why it's called Alpha, like right in the name. Here we are. This is another one that you may recognize, though it is not in the game. It is this is one I already remade, and it's available for download. This one was much blingier and much more interesting looking than the one I ended up remaking, because of the fact that I could use completely custom textures in the old map editor and use whatever I wanted. Now, there is a lot of weirdness with how the cubes go together, so there's a lot of seams, and I know it does look a little weird, but overall I think it looks pretty cool. This one, the new one, is called Penitentiary, and it's nearly the same. But this one's called Mansion here, and this is like one of the only good M110 maps. It just kind of happens to be that the length of these corridors is about the right length where an M110 is better than an assault rifle and about as good or better than your other sniper rifles. So this one, or later Penitentiary, which is the remake of this again, was one of the only ones where you could actually kind of use an M110 and succeed. The remake of this, I actually put a second story on this. So the remade one is absolutely sprawling. And it's quite fun if you have like 12 people in the lobby, but anything smaller than 10 and it feels kind of empty. Next map. This one, in my opinion, was the best map made on the old map editor. This one is called WW01. And I forget what that even stands for. Oh, no, that's not what it's called. It's called Map 1 by WW01. Okay. Yeah, so it's literally just called Map 1. So I think this was this guy's first map. But it was really quite good. At first glance, it doesn't look that much different from these kind of prop dumps we've been seeing. But stuff actually is laid out pretty well, where you actually do have a reasonable amount of routes and not too much just clutter and stuff. Plus, the whole map's just put together very well. Everything, there's pretty much no seams or just weirdness with the map. So this one was quite a nice map. This was, again, one of the most played maps on the old map editor for sure. I'm actually going to, because I always keep saying these maps are in dusk because that's what you get to make it go in today in the normal one. I'm going to show you what this looks like in day. I believe this was the one that people tended to use. Also okay, I think that would be better like that. Whoops. It's kind of confusing how you even get out of some of these menus. Okay, there we go. Yes, this is what this map looked like. So it's pretty fun. You had this ramp you could go up here, and you were pretty exposed, but it was a nice sniping spot against the other team here. And the other team, on the other hand, they had this up here, and then they could also get on top of some of these buildings and snipe you from there. Let me see if I can figure out how to get on top of one again. I think there's another way to do this. This map is another difference. So this map was made after mantling was added to the game, but mantling was never added to the map editor. So you're supposed to be able to jump up here and then climb up there, but I'm just gonna have to like fly up in the editor. So you really had to know what the. I don't know why I couldn't. That's weird. But yeah, so you really had to know kind of your game mechanics because previewing in the editor generally was not very accurate to what you would actually get in the game. So you really had to know kind of, your scaling on things of how high do you have to make a wall so someone can't jump on top of it, how far do you have to make a gap where someone can't jump across it, all this type of stuff, because it was just not the same in the map editor as the game. I don't even think the map editor has sway jumping. Yeah, so definitely a lot of differences there. But yeah, this was a really cool map, and this was the only map this guy made. I don't think he even made another one. This one is called Map Rework 130, and this is a prototype 1 reimagine. I don't think it's quite as good. This is made by iTerq, who. Oh, I said earlier, P-Train, Mr. Titix. I confused these guys. I said Mr. Titix was the developer of the map editor. That is not correct. It is iTerq. So the Factory 2 map, and then this one were made by iTerq, the developer of the map editor. Yeah, so as you can see, there's not even any ladders in this. So this was kind of interesting, but I mean, it's just like P1 reimagine, and it's really not all that much different. Nor is it particularly interesting in terms of sense. I mean, you have a road going through the middle here and just kind of random stuff. So, yeah, I think that's about it. Now, this one here, we got Night Ride Day. I think these are all going to be the same. So I'm just going to do Night Ride Dusk because that should be the day setting. So it's easier to see. Yeah, this one. So I made this one here. This was a very big project, but I think it turned out really well. Now, the one thing is it is open in the middle, and people would complain about that, saying it's too open, but you can flank along the sides here, and that's what people tended to do. So this is a big map, but I don't think it was too big. I think it was actually quite nice. And then also, with how everything has these kind of seams and stuff, that wasn't as obvious in-game. For some reason, it was just a little bit different, because I have screenshots from this map, and it doesn't look like that. It looks much better. So yeah, you have this kind of like courtyard here, and you had this hotel right in the middle here that had this secret ladder back here, again with like the jumping up the ramps type thing. The next one I'll fly up at. This one I'll jump up, so you can get a sense of how long it takes to get up ladders by just jumping. But yeah, you can get onto the roof of the hotel here. For some reason I can't jump up this ramp, but I could the other one. I really don't know why. But yeah, and then you could also get up that with the fire escape on the sides. You can see there's even one spawn up there, which is kind of funny. And then what's also interesting with this map is that you had, I'm stuck somehow. So if you went up here, yeah, this map was like, had so many kind of Easter eggs. So one, you have your Lee Harvey Oswald window here he can like shoot people out of. Another one, so this just went down to the ground floor of the hotel, which looked like this, like just the lobby here. Not too interesting. And then you could go into this kind of like ballroom place, and not much interesting over there, just little buildings stuff. And then for the blue spawn here, you could run straight up here and get on top of the roof. But this here, it looks like this is blocked off with these barrels, but you can actually just jump on top of them. And then that actually was blocked off, but then you could fall down here. And this was, again, before ladders, so there's no way to break your fall aside from just splitting it up there. But you ended up in this sewer thing here. So one, you could fall down here, then you were actually just trapped. You had to go in the main menu and suicide. It's kind of a red herring there, kind of Easter egg. But then the actual route over here is you could go this way, and then again you would end up at one of these ladders, and this one's even taller, so I'm just going to fly up it. And then you ended up at the top of the tallest building here. And this was really cool because doing all that, I mean, it took like, you know, like a minute or something. But then you would end up above everything. And this was just a really cool sniping spot. And definitely a cool spot to hit a clip from if you were even able to. But yeah, I really wanted Oma to add this one into the game. I'm not really sure why he didn't. I think it was just something to do with how in the old map editor, these maps just were like abnormally hard to add in or something like that, because it really is mostly outdoors, so it's not like you'd have to have a lot of interior lighting or anything like that, but it also was kind of large maybe, but oh well. This one I'm sort of thinking about remaking, but I don't know if Oma would kind of want to add it into the game, and then of course I'd probably tweak stuff. Because like it was a really fun map, but it's also not like so fun that I'm just gonna remake this whole map because it is a really big map. It would be a big project. This is No Shark Canals here. This is by iTerq. Again, he was the developer of the map editor here. We're like 30 minutes into the video. I'm losing my words. But so this one, of course, is based off the Battlefield map No Shark Canals. But again, with iTerq's map, this is mostly just a prop dump of just tons of stuff right in the middle. Then also, again, you didn't have free-for-all back in the day on editor maps. They were all team deathmatch. But this one, it's meant to be like a free-for-all map. So you have like teams, but everyone just spawns in random places. It was just really weird. And this crane here, again, there was no ladders, so you couldn't just put like a secret ladder on here. I wish he made it so there was some way to get on top of this crane, but I don't think there was. Though you could get up to these catwalks at least with some clever parkouring. I don't think there was any way to get all the way up. This was a pretty decent map. The styling was definitely pretty good, especially with this nice kind of water texture here. Oh, I just messed something up. Oops. But there we go. But yeah, this was I played on this a few times, but At the end, I didn't really like it all that much. Orange Towers here. This one was by Light Knight, who also used to be a game admin. This one, oh, I remember this one here. This was a pretty frustrating map. It's basically an aim sniper map because this thing is so open here. Even if you put smokes down, it's still way too open to be able to run across unless you're literally like 1v1ing and the guy is just AFK or just something like that. Like if you have a 1v1, you can maybe run across and snipe the guy and then keep running across. That's the only way you get to the other side. Just very open. It's definitely an interesting map, but I never personally liked it. Project 9B. Is this even... What the... Okay, yeah, so you can see how the new terrain kind of glitches out here. So this originally, the terrain would have been this whole size, but now it was only this size, so it kind of messed up the map. This must have been a Frouse map, though I don't actually have a list on... I don't have it in my list of who made this. This Frouse is like the only one to make these types of maps. This one actually might have been... I think this is Project Ambition. It just has a weird file name. This one, so the terrain here is literally 1,000 meters wide. So this map is extremely large. And so large that you literally can't even snipe all the way across it diagonally. Because I think in Skillwarz your hit scans only go like 500 meters or something. So originally, there might be some screenshots out there of how this map originally looked like. I don't think I have any personally. It looked better than this, obviously, because you had the terrain there. As you can see, kind of like that, and just imagine that for the whole map. It's obviously better than it looks now. But yeah, this map was just extremely large. And even if you had a full 12-person lobby in this, which in the old days, again, you had to share maps manually. Having a 12-person lobby was completely impossible. Probably, like, if you could have a 2v2 on a map, that was good. Having, like, 3 other people that you could, like, have your map, and you go on Discord, and, like, hey, you want to play my map? Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, yeah, sure. 2v2. That was, like, the best you could get. So, actually being able to fill this map up with players so it would play even remotely close to normally was absolutely impossible, unless it was added to the game, which it never would be, because it's absurdly large, and had horrible performance, obviously. So... Not to rail on this map too much. I mean, it was a nice effort, but it's like... it's just not even close to a practical map for the game. And this one... So that's a copy of the other one there. Okay, we'll skip that. Rec Z Parkour. This one, who made this? I don't have it. I think it would have been made by Rec Z. I think that's why it's called that. This was a pretty interesting parkour map. Actually, really not that difficult. So we had some fun playing on this one a little bit. Not much else to say. Rust. Before Rig, which was the Rust remake. This was the Rust remake. And then also, I believe this is, yeah, originally did not have these textures. It originally had default textures. But I have this kind of different texture pack loaded up for whatever reason on this map right now. Yeah, so this was my original attempt at remaking Rust. You can probably see kind of our perspective here. And I mean, it was all right, but it wasn't really that good. So as you can see, that's kind of why I didn't go farther than that. Here we have Shipment. This was the, I was about to say this was the first Shipment remake, but that is wrong. This was made by Frouse again. And it was just called Shipment. Unrelated to the COD 4 Shipment, obviously, because this one is huge. And much like Frouse's other map that was called, what was it called? Boneyard. Yeah, this one just kind of very large, somewhat of an asset dump, and just not particularly interesting to play on. Here we have, this is Industry Town by the Stafey. This also was one of the best maps made on the old map editor. Now, there was one big problem with this map, is that red spawns here, and the only way they can get out of their spawn is this one little passage. So, you always had people camping around this corner, camping up here, camping wherever the fuck they want, and spawn trapping the red guys. It was pretty easy to do here. Whereas the blue spawns at least have, I think, 2 ways out of their spawn. They all spawn in here, so you can go this way, you can go this way, you can go this way. But if this spawning situation with red was fixed. Maybe like kind of move this area up around here, and then you kind of have one that goes here and one that kind of went up there and one that went over there as routes to get out of the spawn. This would have been the absolute top tier map. This is another one where it really probably should have been added to the game as a map. Definitely a very fun map to play on. Now this one here is the Shipment remake. It was called Storage. This one has some pretty bright colors as I remember. Yeah, check this out. We got some bright yellow rafters. This one was definitely fun, and I played on it a good amount, even though it seems very bare bones by today's standards. It was quite nice back in the day. And the punchy colors was pretty cool because a lot of these maps, of course, even this one, of course, you have a good amount of gray. So having the punchy colors was pretty nice, I think. I don't regret making it like that. This one here is another COD 4 port. It's called System. I made this. A lot of iterations, as you can see, it's 1.1.6. This one originally had terrain, but then terrain got messed up, so that's like the remnants of it over there. Then I ended up just putting normal grass down. But as you can see, this is a remake of COD 4's Vacant, and this was actually quite nice. The problem was mainly that it was too tight. One thing, so again, with like the Minecraft blocks, making blocks anything other than making walls anything other than a whole block wide was was a huge pain. So that's like all your walls. And then if you scaled a map properly, one would be too small in the first place, two you'd be crammed in because the walls were too tight. So as you can see, this is pretty tight here. And I think I actually I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure I did make another. I like remade this in the map editor and kind of adjusted the scale properly. And then so here's another thing. You'll notice the walls in here, the bricks are running the wrong way. You might be like, why is that? Why are the bricks running the wrong way? It's so stupid. Well, here's another difference in the map editor and the game, is that for some reason the textures would map differently, where they would be like 90 degrees rotated. So as you can see, pretty much all the wall textures here, and there was also some of these, you can see these are normal. So in the game, these would be flipped, but you couldn't do anything about that. I just wanted like the main walls, the biggest walls, to look normal. You just had to know that your textures were going to be flipped 90 degrees. So it would look weird in the map editor, but then it would look normal in game. And then I think there was also something weird with, oh yeah, so like I was saying here, so this is flipped, this is normal. So like if you make a wall this way, then this is actually is fine in game. But if you make a wall this way, it looks normal in the map editor, it would be flipped in game. So I ended up making my texture packs where the bricks would have two different textures, rotated 90 degrees. So if you made a wall going this way, you would use the one texture. If you made a wall going this way, you would use the other texture. It's like all coming back to me now. How just quirky and you know, weird the old map editor was with all these things you had to like keep in mind. It's absolutely no wonder why Oma just went ahead and made a new one. This one also is somewhat famous because this is the map that I did my sway jump tutorial in, which has a lot of views. You can go over here and mantle on this. Of course, mantling's not in the editor, so I can't replicate it again. But yeah, this was I do admit this map was pretty tight, but it was very nice back in the day. Probably this for a while was no doubt the most detailed map that was in the game, which seems kind of crazy now because it seems a little sparse compared to some of the stuff that we have, but I think it still holds its own today in terms of detail, at the very least. So we are almost done with the maps. We got 3 maps left. We got the Boombox, and this is by Zero Headshots. Is this the train map? Yeah. Yeah, this map's very open. So this is supposed to be like a train station, except the trains are like 50 feet wide, and yeah, it's quite a weird map. Extremely open, as you can tell. This map's kind of frustrating because you think you want to use a sniper because it's so open, but then you end up rushing, and then you have a sniper in these train cars where you really want a shotgun. So it's hard to feel like you have picked a good weapon. Just not super fun overall, unfortunately. Not. This was this guy's first map. I don't think it was particularly good, unfortunately, for his first map. Next up is Tuscan. This is by Laugh, and I believe this is another CS:GO port, another Counter-Strike port. I'm not familiar with Counter-Strike at all, but I'm almost certain this is a Counter-Strike port. This one is actually quite nice, and I believe I helped him out with this somehow. I think somewhere on the map. Where is it? There's somewhere on the map it actually says that I helped him. Maybe it's not in this version. I thought we put it like right here. Oh, I think of what it was. Because I gave Laugh. Oh, here it is over here. Except so this would show up normally in game, but if I can even, but yeah, it's like flipped upside down. Map by Laugh. Textures by. It says like map by Laugh, textures by Impossible. Thanks for playing, or something like that. But yeah, so he made the map, but I just donated him my texture pack that I had made with 64 different textures on it, and I think this map really, for the time, turned out really well. Of course, it is a CS:GO map, so it's kind of large and clunky, as I said with the other maps, but yeah, as these maps went back into this is another one where it's definitely in the top quarter of maps. And now we're on to the final map, and unfortunately this one is not a great one to end the video on because it's very underwhelming, but it is UNT1. This is by Frouse here. This was another one, many times in this video I've said, this map originally had a terrain, and the terrains got broken, so I just added a floor back in. This one really relied on its terrain. Without the terrain, there's like nothing going on. Oh, and why there's this weird little bridge here is because you couldn't actually place blocks anywhere you wanted. You would just start with some blocks, and you had to just if for some reason you wanted the map to be off center, you just had to bridge out, and that's how this map was. Again, somewhere maybe there is some screenshots of this. If Oma ever puts the old backup of the old forum back online, we'll be able to get the screenshots for this on how it originally looked. But there's not a whole lot to imagine. It was basically just this dusty kind of terrain, and this was kind of sitting on a hill. This was your actual playable area, but as you can see, there's basically nothing going on. I did play on this map. I don't remember if the video shows the terrain or if it shows just this, but I did play on this map with the terrain, but yeah, definitely not a very good map. So this video ended up being a good amount longer than I expected. I think I spent an average almost exactly on 1 minute per map, and I wanted it to be about half that. But hopefully this was an enjoyable video. And again, if you want to see even more old, forgotten, and especially unfinished maps, because this video only had like one unfinished map, and I know there's more if I can find the backups I have. So if you want to see that, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Subscribe for more like this. I know this is a long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you later.